Hello. Here we are again. Happy Monday. Hope your last week has gone well. I'm so excited to be here today connecting with each of you. I'll give you a few moments to connect in. So today we're at the 15th of February and things are interesting right now. Hello. So right now, just a little mini kind of update here. I'm carrying this stone around. This is a carnelian around with me a lot. It's the second chakra. It supports the second chakra, or also known as the Sacral Chakra, and it's around creativity, expression. Those are the main two for right now. So I'm feeling it down here in the lower centers of my body. And if you happen to be having any issues, if you're a female and you have any reproductive or monthly cycle stuff going on, you might be feeling it down there as well. For men, it can be either stagnation or just increased expression from the creative centers as well. So just a little side note. But before I begin, I want to start with an intention that this gathering today is in highest alignment and received by all, and from the place in their heart directly connected to Source. And so let me pull out my feather here and let's clear our spaces, and go ahead and do this with me, whatever way works for you. You can use a finger or two, but just hold one hand up. This is your energy signature here, right? This is my right hand here. Hold this up and intend using your energy signature to clear, bathe, bless, purify, harmonize, and divinitize the space you're in. Calling in highest light and love. And now I'm just going to ask that this platform, communication, and video be cleared, bathed, blessed, purified, harmonized, and divinitized, brought into the highest light. And just welcoming in an open heart space here to receive, to hear, to listen. And just clearing this, all dimensions, time and space, seen and unseen, and holding space for each and every one of you, either in this now or any future nows, to be held in a safe and sacred space as we share this time together. All right, thank you. So, coming into your heart, let's exhale and let this all go. So, this is real time with me, and so I do these videos, and very slowly I'm finding myself just opening up a little bit more and more and more into my internal processes. Not because I want everyone to know my business. I'm kind of a private individual, but I am using the sharing as a platform to teach from a very authentic place what's really happening with me in order to serve you. So as I share what's going on within myself and how I'm working through it, it's almost like extra fresh, and you can get it and receive from that information perhaps a little bit more because it's super real for me in the moment. So just so you know, I'm coming back in after having traveled, and so let's just call in all of our energy into this now. We did our clearing, we did our kind of setup and intention, but let's call our light back in and just do this with me now. Coming into your heart. And so for me, I am just releasing any excess charge, any interactions from this morning, from my personal drive, all those tailgaters. And I'm feeling it like water going through sand, like sinking. It's very visceral as it's being pulled out. All the stuff from my travels, essentially, is being pulled out through the sands of my being into the core of the earth, just releasing. and then calling my light back into the body. And so doing this for yourself and taking like 150% ownership here, like I'm calling my stuff back in now. And give it like at least 5 seconds of like full focused attention. A lot of times we're like, oh yeah, I'm calling my light back in. No, 5 seconds. Really focus, be in your body. And you can hold your breath for 5 seconds and just call it, pulse it back in. And so I'm doing kind of like a clarion call to all aspects of my being. Come back into this now. Let's be present. Yeah. And release. There we go. And so now I'm watching this figure 8 come up from the earth and running through my body. Yeah. Synchronizing and harmonizing, coming into this now, and now there's a beam of light coming up from above my head, and it's up and down, connecting me straight to my source point. So I'm running my channel, and I'm not quite at that point yet where like I'm my central column is, my column of light is full on quite yet. That's happening. There, now I'm connecting into source. This is subtle, but it's a great thing to witness here and be with me as this is happening. And now I feel my light coming back in. And then this magical center in our body, the heart center, is turning on. I just hear this kind of a turning on here. I'm using my senses. The way you receive the information might be different. It might be a taste, a smell, a tingling, a knowing. And then now it's filling in the lower energy centers. And it's really appropriate today. It's just funny how spirit works. So today we're talking about, I didn't put the title on here, chakras in the aura and how they're changing. So I don't have any really specific notes about this. I just kind of want to get into it today and walk you through, but I think we're getting kind of an example here as I run through the body. Yeah, and so now I'm watching this kind of interweaving, kind of like Kundalini energy going on the left and right side of my spine, and it's sending these connections weaving down my body from my tailbone into the earth. So that's just what's happening for me right now. This is my unique experience. Explore, watch, see what unfolds for you. Calling that earth energy back up into my body, cycling through my spine, up the back body, and then down through the front. That's just how it's going today. And so that's what I want to kind of talk to you all about is, yes, there are certain ways the mystery schools have taught us to do things. I'm just having gratitude for a second here. Mystery schools have taught us to do things, but y'all, the ask here is to be in the now. And so the way things we could have been taught to do stuff, or the shoulds and the shouldn'ts, that's going to change. And so in order to stay up to date, you have to check in with yourself. It's kind of like moving from email to the Facebook to maybe Instagram into Twitter. And so it's just the rapid fire information is coming more and more quickly, and the way that we evolve and how we do things are different. And so what I would teach even a few years ago is different it's a very much shorter period of time that I use to onboard people when they come into work with me. When we would spend quite a bit of time talking about grounding and running energy, like your life force energy through the body, that is a period of time, but a lot of souls that I'm witnessing now are able to accelerate pretty quickly through that initial process and move into the next layer, because the earth has evolved to the point where we're just being asked to more rapidly, it's more accessible, these higher expressions of our technology. That's essentially what's going on. And so I'm attempting here in this series here, the Healthy Energy 101, to touch on and give a simple reference point to the way, the simplistic, more simplistic view of these energy practices and energy things and systems, but also acknowledge that we are moving along. And so for those of you who have been at it for a while, be in your process. There's no one right answer here. And so if you're seeing or experiencing something different, sure, it could be, you know, a block or something you can't see. And that's why we need support. Sometimes we need that neutral support of an outside individual to help us, walk us through whatever is going on. But just honor that, again, we're moving from email into Twitter and beyond. And so the way that you're connecting in might change even from day to day, moment to moment. Sometimes I find that the way I was able to connect in one, like the morning time shifts a little bit to the evening. Now, again, my system is sensitive, you know, to these things. And so, you know, you might have gradations of that sensitivity for yourself. But just notice and be in present time. And kind of before you begin a meditation, just clear and drain everything out before you jump right into, okay, I'm going to do it a certain way. We do it a certain way until a pathway is there, and then we can begin to explore more unique or individualized ways of being. Kind of like growing up when you're learning to paint. Let's say, you know, you have the 3 primary colors and you paint with those, and then you bring in more colors and you bring in more brushes, etc., etc. And you can learn about different techniques and different types of artistic expression as you go along. So I'm attempting to do the primary colors as best I can, and then we bring in some more paints, acknowledging that there is a whole kaleidoscope out there for y'all. Okay, and I go into a little bit more detail. I'm going to be holding a group mentorship. I sent that info to the people who are on my email list. And if you want to get updates, you know, a lot of times I send updates like twice a month or so, maybe 3 times. Just go ahead and click on my link in my bio, and that sign up is there. Anyway, I mentioned about starting a group mentorship for people who can hold the space for themselves, but who want to go deeper. So who want to paint a little more in greater detail with different mediums, etc. And so that option is going to be out there probably in the next few months. I'm just building it and collecting interest and seeing what really lights people up in their hearts, because I'm here to support people in this bigger group movement. Feels very much in alignment and in integrity for the information coming through me for each of you, or all those who want to participate. Okay, so I have gone on for a minute here. I'm gonna get my cards out and let's check in and see what Spirit has to say today. And each of you, please, whether you're on the future time listening or right now, come into your heart and let's just set highest intentions. What do you need to hear in this now? What is the highest message theme for you in this now? Because we're going to talk about things, but this is still a real-time exchange here. I mean that we're going to talk about specific, you know, energy centers and all that, but this is about you and the message Spirit has for you now. Okay, so 3 came out today. Ah! Look at that. What was that one? Okay, so 2 came out. 1 was actually pulled into group healing this weekend. So that one is the crown chakra, the unlimited self. So take a look here. All right, and then the second one is full spectrum. And so these are just, these are the cards that I have. This is the way that this is a divination system. This is the way Spirit can speak directly to us through these cards. You can pick, if these cards are something that you're interested in. Izzy Ivy is the artist, but there's plenty of other ones out there. Okay, so let me go into the crown chakra briefly, just give you a little bit of a touchstone here, and see if any of this, you get any tingles or any resonance here as I read about this. So the crown chakra is the unlimited self, top of the head here, devotion, inner guidance, visionary inspiration, fathoming beyond the mind, enlightenment, connection to the universe and life force. The themes around this are the way for you to be most aligned with divine guidance and connection with spirit. And it's just at the top of your head or just above the head if you're lying down. And I'm going to read the color wash here too. It's white with flecks of gold and violet. But again, here's the thing with the colors. Colors represent a frequency, and sometimes that's just not what jives for you, because you're a unique spectrum on the rainbow yourself, So the colors are there as a great guideline, but whatever comes in for you, honor that first. Okay, second thing, it's full spectrum. So creating heaven on earth by honoring the perfection of nature's cycles, going beyond judgment of good and bad, the merging of duality, raw nature, earth wisdom, connecting to ancestors, shadows as the fertile soil for exponential growth. The way forward is in the whisperings of the land, honoring the full spectrum of life. Oh, y'all. And I think for those of you who are just on the call at the beginning, so I was talking about this carnelian and really feeling it in the second chakra. And I gotta say, from where I'm standing now, like I'm really witnessing the creative cycle, but the creative cycle where there's the ebb and flow of creation and of life and what that's like, and surrender and letting go to the bigger picture, the bigger wave. So for me, it's like I'm standing on the shore watching the sand castles around me that, I've taken part in creating, or just that are around me, and allowing for the waves to come through to wash them away, and knowing and trusting that the next layer of sandcastle mastery will make its way through. So I hope you're able to feel me on that, but really honoring this sacred creative center. And let me go back here. Ancestors too have been coming up a lot, and working with the earth. But I'm sensing as well, like working with the ancestors to heal, because I've been really witnessing a lot of the old timelines coming forward to be healed in a new way. Now, I've seen this many times before for myself and with clients, of course, but this just feels much more personal, and I think it has to do with this stone and kind of what it represents. So if you are feeling that as well, we just have to breathe through the cycle and be with what is and how it's showing up. And doing the connecting in, and being in present time, and allowing for the wave to run through you. Because when we offer resistance to the wave, when we offer rigidity, think of like if you're falling off a bike, when we tense up, the chance of breaking a bone is much higher because you're stiff, and the frequency, the energy of like the force can't flow through your vessel. It hits a wall and then the bone breaks. And so we're just kind of asked to remain loose, pliable, flexible throughout this process. Okay. So, of course, if any of you have questions, any comments, anything you want to share, feel free to type it in, except when we'll probably do like a little healing or exploration. Just be in that process. All right, I'm going to hold these cards over here. Let's talk about chakras and the aura. I suspect many of you are familiar with these terms if you're on this call, and you're probably familiar with your own energy systems to varying degrees. So the aura is simply like an electromagnetic emanation out of your chakra systems. And chakras are almost like these meeting points, how I see it. They're shaped like an ice cream cone like this, and they sit in the body coming out like this, out of your head, out of your throat, your heart, your third chakra, your stomach, second chakra, and the root chakra, and then of course the top of your head. And there's many other energy centers, but I'm just going to talk about these, the central column ones. And basically I see them as the interface between the etheric realm and the physical form. And so what they do is they take in information from the etheric realm, from your thoughts, your emotions, from your energetic field. They bring it into your body where your hormones then take it in, and basically it comes into your endocrine system, and then it turns into hormones, which affect your chemical structure in your body. And then that chemical structure has bigger compounded impacts and effects on your body as it builds. And so if you're taking in, let's just call it negative information for an extended period of time, eventually your hormones will be affected, then your mood will chemically in your body will be affected, perhaps even to the point where your organs start to reflect the density of the field that you've been exposed to, the emotional state, the negative state that you've been inundated with or kind of saturated in. And so that could be heartache, that could be an illness such as cancer or a disease. It varies for each person and kind of what your makeup is like. So we have the energy centers, the chakras, and we run through, in order to help keep them balanced, we ground ourselves into the earth, and then we run energy from the heavens, pearlescent gold energy traditionally, and run it from back to front to clear out these energy centers, because a lot of times they get clogged. And you might notice that the ones that are clogged or the ones that are frozen or restricted, you might notice in your body, you feel that restriction, that closed. You might even actually have injuries or issues in those particular areas. A big common one is the heart center. And I used to teach yoga, and getting people to open up like this, it's hard work, because so many of us are not modeled or taught, or even space is typically not held for us to have big wide open hearts. Now, when you do meet someone who has a wide open heart, typically many of us just want to run and give them a hug, because they just have that bigger than life energy. And that's just because it's such an anomaly to see a big open heart in our history moving through this world, because it's not always easy, to be a human here in this world. And so from a etheric realm, that's why we run, or an energetic realm, that's why we run the energy using our intention, the power of our mind, to clear out these energy spaces. But sometimes, in order to care for them, we also have to go into the physical tissues. And I talked about this a little bit last week, but we need to go in and manipulate and move the tissues. That's why massage, that's why energy, like hands-on work, can be really helpful. Yoga has a really great system in place to get energy moving in the body to free up what's stuck. So then not only your physical tissues can start to work in harmony, but also your energetic system. And so the physical density and the energetic, like lighter frequency, can start to meet in the middle, and then there can be a flow, because for so many of us, we live disconnected. We have the physical form, and then we have the etheric self, and most of us are kind of many are stuck in the physical form, and kind of like a rock. Here I am, I'm moving through the world. And there comes a time for those that are meant to awaken and connect with this higher self. This density starts to have cracks in it, in our exterior, in the core of our being, and that's when we we start to realize that there's something more to life, and we feel that vibrance, that essence that wants to kind of creep in, and then we're led to practices and modalities that will support us in connecting with those ways of being, or in running those energies. In session work, I call it highways. So we do the work so we can create highways for this high frequency data to be able to enter into our system and then begin to affect change in the way that it needs to. So many of us have been driving around, like, I'm going to use another analogy here, cars that haven't had their oil changed in a long time, and it's just going to take a little work to get the cap off of the oil container in the car, and then take that out, clean out the old oil. So we have to recycle our system, kind of clean out our system, and then we can put new oil in, let the car run, etc. Hope you're following this. Hope this is making sense. But that's the process, and it sounds easy, like, oh yeah, I can just change the oil out in my car and it'll be fine. It's a process. You gotta, all the old stuff, all the unprocessed things are kept in the data banks in our body, one in our tissues, but that is projected out through our chakra centers onto the respective auric layer. So we have, let's just talk about the heart, because you can see me here and I can talk about it. So the heart is like a projector emanating out these old storylines and belief systems that have been imprinted into the body. And this is the heart is in charge of basically our connection of heaven onto earth. So it's our spiritual self and our physical form kind of meeting here. And so all of our belief systems about kind of those two meeting points and universal unconditional love. And so when that is not supported or modeled for us, we develop skewed views of what that truly is. That sits in our tissues in our body. Parts of us shut off. Then the projector says, oh, okay, I gotcha. And we're going to emanate a reality and a belief out into my world, which is your emanation coming out of your fourth chakra, your heart center, into the fourth layer of your auric field. So we're like Russian nesting dolls. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. layers. And so you're emanating your distortion around being a human, a spirit in human form, and your relationship with universal unconditional love, or love in general. You emanate that into your field, and then you have experiences that support it. So the chakras represent our personal dynamic and storyline, and then the auric field represents our external interactions with the world. And so that's the interface. So if you're having a push-pull with somebody around love or relationship, etc., a lot of times that's held in the auric field, at least initially. And then over time, if that person really does come into close to you, that's when there can be cords or connections into these respective centers, which can be healing, but most of the time when that energy is staying in our field that someone else's, that's not healthy, because that's not your energy running. So that's why we do neutral separations. So is everyone following me here? I'm kind of trying to cover a lot about these energy centers and not get it too much into this one's red, this one's orange, this one's yellow, blah, blah, because that really doesn't matter. I kind of want you to shift your perspective from that to this has been their primary function. But let's now take it to the next level and see, let's see here. Okay, good, glad. All right, so I want to talk about what's going on now. So we have these energy centers and they've been beaming out like this and sending out their storylines, but as you do your work, as you clear out the bullshit, just gonna be straight up here, as you clear that out and you come into running more and more and more of your own unique frequency, of your own storyline, and not your mother, your brother, your father, your sister, your second cousin, your 11th grandmother, from 100 years ago. Your stuff. your light, as you run more and more of that, what happens is the energy centers start to shift and change, and you begin to become like this column of light. And the energy centers almost begin to rotate from this up into this, and they become like a torus field themselves. So imagine like a bunch of little donuts in your body running energy, really highly refined frequency that is you through your system. Okay, helpful to hear the layers into the aura. Okay, good. And so basically you're having all these torus fields that are running. So your chakra moves from, this is the primary colors, this is basic level. Now it's like boop, level 2 or middle school or high school. We're moving up in our ability to hold more information. And so we have these energy centers running the torus field, and this is what then begins to create this column of light that I talk about so often. And I jump to the column of light to hold the space for everyone to come up and meet this, because if I want to touch on the basic stuff because I want it to be relatable as best it can be. A lot of this happens from the heart space, the understanding, but I want to give you really plenty of room to grow and know that this is what you're expanding into. And whatever you're feeling, whatever discord, discontent, disconnection that you're happen to feeling right now, these are just little bumps in the road. These are just natural obstacles leading you to greater and greater freedom, to being this full beam of light. So essentially the torus field, all of these torus fields run in your body, and then you become a big torus field yourself. And so you have energy running up, water falling, or fountaining out, and then coming down and coming back up through your feet. And of course that's going to continue to evolve as well, but that is in the making right now, and we touch on it a little bit in the group healings. Actually, that's coming in a little bit, is the light body and how that's beginning to interact with us. But let's just stay with this running the column of light. And so with all that being said, and being clear about your aura and all the layers that emanate outside of you, essentially what happens is these little mini torus fields start to expand out, and they form your auric field in a whole new way. So just imagine like your donuts growing bigger, and that's what forms the layers of your being. So take a second and just like process, see if you can imagine it in your mind's eye here, and you become much more of a self-sustaining unit. It's a much more efficient way of processing, because you're not, the chakras going forward are a bit, they're necessary, but they're rudimentary, as the frequencies that are coming in now are much more charged, highly charged. So it's kind of like the rudimentary system would have a hard time processing the higher octane fuel that is being provided energetically for us. 1 second, let me get some water. Okay, and so once we're able to run this torus column of light, that's when we breathe up earth energy into our heart, exhale it up to source, inhale it back down, exhale it through our feet. That's when we're turning on our torus field. It's always running, but like being able to connect with it and really activate it and own our space. It's important to check in every day to do that. And 360 all around you, above and below. Make sure everything is running smoothly. So as you do that, what happens is you emanate from your core outwards, and you don't have to worry about the boundaries, because you know who you are, you're running who you are very clearly, and you're not having to fight people off. There is a stage of your development that you will need to be very clear about your boundaries and rewrite the storyline around that. And that's when we separate from people. We say the sacred no's, and the sacred no's and yeses are always applicable, but there comes a point in your evolutionary cycle where those things aren't even necessary, because you just are who you are, and the energy it's so clear that there won't be the presentation of opposition unless it's something that you as a soul have asked for or need in order to strengthen and grow a part of you. So just know that if you are in a place where you perhaps feel oppressed or overwhelmed, or your boundary lines are really gappy and your aura has little tears and holes in it, or your chakra emanations, like the story that is emanating out of your chakras, is one of lack of power or disconnection or some sort of wounding or fear, like core fear at some level, that's okay. Welcome to the journey. You know, and what we do is we have the deep, like heavy stuff. It's heavy lifting at first, but it does get lighter, not because the stuff that we face gets any lighter. It's because we have more tools. We just had the hydraulic lift, you know, to help us pick things up as we move forward. But it takes, again, dedication and commitment. And I think I talked about that last week. When you commit yourself to something, it's just like you zero in and you say, yes, that, I want that. And whatever I need to do in highest alignment here from the heart space to make that happen, whatever I need to do from the heart space to make that happen, so be it. And live your life in that integrity and intention, so be it. So whatever you do, whatever you say, be so confident in what you are participating in that you're willing to say the so be it, because that cements it in. And sometimes, like I said last week, I had to check out. And so, like mentally, emotionally, I just had to shut down and power off. And so take that time you need, but then come back in. You don't have to take forever. It doesn't have to wallow in it. You don't have to wallow in it for a week here. Not anymore. The energies are so supportive that you can really get back up and running if you focus in and you commit to a different outcome, because you are such a powerful creator being. You don't have to sit in the shit anymore. Like, that is a storyline that has come, it has been lived, and it is going out the door. And so be with your feelings, honor them, feel the stuff, witness what you have experienced, what has transpired, what has been stored in your physical tissues, and what is being emanated out from your energy centers in your body. Honor that. Be with it for a full 90 seconds. I had this a client reach out to me. They were stuck in terms of like separating, and so like neutral separations. And so the remedy for this was to be with the feelings that they were feeling for 90 seconds. Because in that particular case, it wasn't about the other. It was about whatever was happening within themselves. That's the honor. And so many times, I've had that so many times for myself, where I couldn't neutrally separate from an individual or a place because that within me had yet to be witnessed and held and lovingly heard for whatever hadn't been processed for me. Okay? So you be with the feelings 90 seconds. Let it all out, the tears, the pain, the sadness, the grief, the anger, whatever it is. Breathe it out. If you need to do more, do more. Listen to your intuition on that. And then flood yourself with kind of the equal but opposite. So the other side of the coin. So if you were feeling deep loneliness, be with that feeling of loneliness, and then connect in with something that brings you the sense, the feeling of belonging, of having community, and let that information flood your brain and your chemical systems, and hold that for 90 seconds. So we're bringing in a new experience, and just imagine the feeling of being big hugs and connection and snuggles and love and whatever it is for you, but let that, the brain doesn't know the difference between the experienced reality and what you're bringing in. So you're going to imprint with use your feelings to imprint that into your body. And you might need to do that. I would suggest doing the positive imprinting like on a daily basis, several times a day as you're first starting out, because you really want to, this is how we reprogram our reality. So by feeling the feelings, by conjuring up a reality that we haven't historically, like our energy centers don't think we've experienced, by conjuring that up, that bringing that into our physical, chemical being, we then begin to shift what is permissible and what is possible within the emanations of our auric system and our chakra system. So first you got to clear, feel the feelings, and then you imprint with the new. And you do that several times a day at first, especially in the morning and before bed, because those are the times when the connections will be made and that deeper like subconscious work comes into play. And when you do it in the morning, you set your day up for success. And so it might take time. It does take practice to bring the feelings up, especially if you feel it feels so distant, but continue. It's like a muscle. You got to just continue, be dedicated, be focused, and commit to this process. Because I can tell you on a personal level here, this is me talking about my personal stuff again. I have certainly been in the darkest of dark. I don't talk about all these things lightly. It has been talk about dark night of the soul for like a decade. And there are those who witnessed it. You know, it was a hard time. And for me, it just took dedication and believing beyond what was possible. And I kid you not, here I am now. And like everything that I didn't believe was possible for myself, within my being, for the life that, and this is me holding the space from the heart for this possibility, because I knew it like in my gut that this was mine. This was mine. And you hold that and you feel it and you say, yes, this and more. Yes, this and more. I am a divine light of creation. It is my desire, it is my birthright to live my highest expression. This and more. And you anchor, you ground that in like a sword that you're, what's that, King Arthur? The sword and the stone. Like, send that sword into the ground, and that is your commitment. That is your dedication. Live your fucking light. And that's, so be it. Live your fucking life, so be it. And I say that with love and emphatic joy. That's how strongly we need to come in, kind of like blazing fire, and create something new for ourselves. Again, I'm talking about reprogramming your cells, your DNA, your chakra system in the program that's running, that's emanating out, and then recalibrating your auric field. And it takes tremendous power, but that's your soul coming in. That's the fuck yes from your soul that says, I am not taking this shitty story anymore. And it's not about fighting anything else outside of you. This is within you. You're done with the chapter. You're ready to move on. And so this is the soul strength, the soul fire. Call that in. If you're feeling unsupported or unsure, call your soul fire in. Call your highest alignment. I am sweating, y'all. Calling your highest alignment, calling your highest team, angelic realms, archangelic realms, whatever you connect with, call in that support in that during that time to help you embody the change. Be the change that you want to see. Okay. So I feel a lot of like juice going through. Like I feel a lot of fire in the heart, in the third and the second. Okay, so let's y'all are ready, let's do a quick little healing here around a practice around this energy. Because once we have the fuck yes, and this is what I'm doing and being really focused, then that's when the energy centers can start to shift. You can run your column of light. You can emanate without compromise into the world, without fear of being seen or known or infiltrated. You can do so freely because you are a free, sovereign being discovering the truth and the power of who you are. Come into your heart. And let's just let all the other accumulation, I just see I've stirred the pot a lot today. Let's let the hubbub all around you wash away. And I'm just gonna hold space for a sacred circle. Oh, we got a lot here. Okay. And so when you're ready, step forward into this sacred circle. It's like a gold, and it has like these gold circles like drawn out, and you can step in. And so it's gold, and then there's a line connected to the next circle. All gonna be your own energy, but we're gonna come into the circle just to be supported by one another. Okay, and there's a lot of, sorry for the expletives, a lot of shit that wants to come and be released. A lot of it's underneath your feet. And so we're going to transmute, and this is not only for you, but the collective here. This is part of your service work as a soul. Hi, welcome. You have another job. You just didn't even know about it. Some of you did. So you're like the galactic cosmic cleanup crew and anchoring in light here. You're a divine representative. And through our vessel, we be the change. We don't talk about the change. We don't dream about the change. Those are things that are important. We be. And so anything that is blocking you from being your truth, being on your mission, living your light, let's all do that mighty F yes, and push it, place it into the center of the circle. Command whatever is blocking your way, and open up your systems to receiving the power, the motivation to be devoted and committed to your highest path. Embracing your beautiful, divinely perfect humanity, but coming into resonance with your soul as self. Releasing, oh, we got second chakra. Okay, second chakra is releasing here, a lot of you. Ooh, I'm feeling it. And so we're just gonna transmute. So if you've been on the calls with me, that's what's happening. Okay, so a lot of right side releasing. Okay. And broken programming, any programming like that tells you you're broken. Yeah, rewriting a lot of that in your DNA. And let's talk to ancestors. Okay, and so, oh my gosh, y'all, this is significant. Thank you for hanging in with me today. So we have ancestors coming around for at least a couple of you. No, they're coming in slowly. Some are more in the distance. That's okay. Because everyone wants to rewrite the story now. We're just going to ask for highest alignment here. The cat is here to support this as well. Okay. And so I'm just going up to source, kind of talking about the collective human ancestry here. Let's just look at the bigger globe of it all, kind of way above your heads. And rewriting these codes, and it's coming down the right side of the head in the right ear, and then down the right jugular. And I'm also seeing on a galactic level rewriting and kind of clearing out storylines if you connect with, whether or not you realize it or not, any cosmic family ties, family of light. But I tell you, some of the stories and living out on other planetary systems, they can be dramatic as well. And so we're just clearing all that discord, rewriting, overriding any distortion programs, any beliefs about you as a spirit coming into the body, you as an individual living a life on this planet. All right. And so now that's starting to release and clear out. I'm just seeing like the water getting a little less murky, like a purer color coming in. And feel it release out of your hands. If you feel compelled to like move or yell or do whatever you need to, breathe deeply, deep breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Very, very, very powerful. Employing your belly, your Buddha belly here as you do so. Okay. All right, clearing out those distortions and just calling in your true light and asking for you to see, know, or be shown what it's like to run your column of light. For your chakras to each be running their own torus field. Just to, for a moment, see and feel that imprint of your highest self. We'll call it and welcome it in. To be shown what's possible and beyond. Asking that your divine DNA light up and begin to release these like freedom codes into your body, into your cells, reprogramming. And so what's going to happen is when we do these activations here, all the stuff, we did a big clearing just now, but all the stuff will rise to the surface that was kind of being released. Use your breath, get out into nature, move it out of your body, do neutral separations, and then be with your feelings for 90 seconds. Yeah, So all of us in this container, this moment here, it's an infinite moment, but we're all experiencing the space is being held to have this experience. Because this is your time. This is your time. Not a future time. Right now. And call that this is my time. Call that in now because it's here. Welcome that in. Yeah, this is mine. This is my birthright. To live and know this flow of energy, my highest self in this now. And then you live from that template every day. Okay. And so I'm feeling a lot in the back of the neck. So we're just going to release from the throat. Okay. Y'all, there's a lot happening here. And it will continue to unfold for each of you. If you don't see me, get support in some way. If you find yourself kind of needing to process. And if you do see me normally and you're finding like, reach out to me and we'll get you in sooner. Okay. So let's do a wash, ease and grace, all of this in highest divine will, all changes, all embodiments and activations. May they be in your highest divine will with ease and grace, flowing through, winding through your body. All right. Calling your light back in. So be it. Okay. So now, stepping out of the circle. No. Stay in the circle for a moment. Pick up, there's an item for you at your feet. Pick that item up. It's a gift. It's a talisman, a symbol. Take it with you. Come back to your body. Hear the sounds in the room around you. Smell the smells. Feel your bones and your muscles on the surface beneath you. Listen to the cat yelling at the door. Breathe in, move your hands and your fingers and toes, and come back in. Welcome. All right. So that was a big activation, big experience. As always, take what resonates and release the rest here. I would suggest with some of you, you might want to return to this little section of the call and experience it again. Give yourself a few days and then come back to it depending on how you're feeling. But compassionate permission to be in your process, because y'all, it's not always pretty. It's not clean cut. And it's not always easy, but we use these tools to their max capacity to really blow us into, like, propel us into that next way of being, which is very exciting, and it becomes a very symbiotic process as you go along. Okay, so any questions before I head off? I just thank you so much, each of you, for being here and for hanging in with me. I know that this is a little bit of a long one. And while anyone's typing stuff in, just know we have the weekly group healings every Saturday. Melanie and I do. And that's a tremendous place to be grounded and then supported in your activation. And she'll be with us till mid-March, and then she'll be off having a baby, which is very exciting. And oh yes, of course, thank you for being here. And then I'm going to be running the group healings for a month or two while she's spending time with the family. So we'll have little themes, but there'll still be the big healing. It'll just be with me for a while. And if any of you need some one-on-one support, just check out my link in my bio, and I have all of that info listed in there as well. So thank you. That was so powerful, beautiful. Yes. Well, thank you all, because it wouldn't be possible without each of you being on this call. So each of you have helped create this process, and you did some big ass work. So like, high five, high five, high five. So much gratitude for each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. Squat the cat says goodbye as well. She's so happy to be here. And I hope each of you have a great rest of your week, and I'll talk to you soon.